Yeah, I feel like Hurts is definitely like proven he's the guy at this point. Like I don't know if I'd let a Super Bowl performance be the dictator of that. Like
Sure.
I feel like guy is going to be the runner up for MVP, rightfully so. Like, I and with Hurts, it's clear that like his impact on the team is so much beyond just like the performance. Like it's clear he's like the emotional leader of the entire team and like kind of one of the key figures they're building this whole culture around. And it's like as much as it's kind of fun to look at some of the stuff they do and think it's like kind of cheesy, like a lot of the Nick Sirianni, like, oh, we're listening to oh man, 8 Mile and stuff like that. And like Hertz is like kind of this like very like openly like slightly emotional guy, talking about like all this stuff. But it works. Like it's the entire team is like bought into it. So I feel like you can rally around Jalen Hurts in a way that you can't really rally around Carson
Yeah.
Wentz. I mean, just from a personality perspective, like talent wise, Jalen Hurts I think is more talented, but like just as like a character, like Jalen Hurts is like the type of guy that you like would go to war for, and Carson Wentz the type of guy that you like cross the street to avoid having to have a conversation with.
Yeah, that's a great point, and there are some key differences in between the Wentz and Hurts situation. The leadership is certainly a big piece of it. I would say the on-field performance is probably similar. I think how Wentz played in 2017 prior to his injury is similar in a lot of ways to how Hurts played, even though they're different styles of runners, I would say. But there's definitely a lot of similarities in terms of their on-field play. The off-field play is a lot of where it's different in terms of leadership, as you said. And of course, Wentz coming back off an injury, there's that uncertain factor. And as it turns out, I'd be hard pressed to see him ever reach that form again, after going through, his ACL surgery and then, having some back issues after that, in his rehab process coming back from the knee. So there's a lot, I think, less question marks around Jalen Hurts than there were about Wentz then. But I mean, 2017 me would have said, I'm all in on Carson Wentz. I love the Carson Wentz contract. He's the guy. He's going to be our leader for the next long time. And that's not to say that Jalen Hurts can't be that, but just having the fact that they went through that recently, when you pay that contract out, it's a big time commitment, and you have to be 100% sure because the rest of your roster decisions are going to suffer. There's going to be cap casualties. There's going to be cuts. You're going to need to be relying on younger players to step up and roll sooner than they may have needed when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal. So yeah, I think these are all conversations that the Eagles have regardless of the result of the Super Bowl, but especially given the media impact on quarterback contracts. That's a real thing. If the Eagles were to win this game, I could definitely see that figure for Jalen Hurts rising into something that we could say maybe even be over $40 million a year for what he's worth.
I feel like with uh, uh, Hurts and all that, it just I don't know something about this Eagles team and like it's got like a mentality to it that's different than sort of what you'd consider like the Philly mentality, where it's like I feel like Philly finally broke through in 2017 in like the only narrative way they possibly could. They had been the favorite so many times and failed, and then finally they have like their big underdog Rocky story, right? Like kind of the whole base of the city. And now that narrative's over, it's weird to be viewing from perspective like Philly as being like the big bad, like
Yeah.
you know, like I feel like they've just built such like an interesting mentality around the team, and I really that's why I can't be too mad about losing to them, right? Like I just feel like the team as a whole is just so like I mean, watching Nick Sirianni answer some of the questions he's had to this past week, ridiculous. Like going out like which player on the team would you not let your daughter date? And he's like, my daughter's 5 years old. Or
Yeah.
some I think it was Dave Damashek was like, do you think the Super Bowl is a must-win game? It's like the way he handles stuff like that. Like I feel like uh, just the whole vibe around the Eagles is so different from what it's ever been, and I feel like you can really buy into like a Jalen Hurts future, especially when you can afford to not have him be this good every year because what quarterbacks are you competing against? It's not like the AFC where you have like this insane arm race. It's like if your guy has a subpar season, all of a sudden he's like the 10th best quarterback in your conference, right? No, like Hurts would have to have a significant drop off to not be a top five quarterback in this right? Like I feel like just the Eagles are set at this perfect position, and maybe this is the best crack at it they'll have. But it just the whole thing just seems to be culminating into something special that we're going to be watching.
Yeah, no, I think you brought up great points, and definitely a great point in saying this may be the best opportunity they have, because there's certainly no guarantee that they'll be back here again next season, even though a lot of names will be. And you brought up a great point too. My whole life, it felt like the Eagles, anytime they were, favored to win a game, we were excited about them. Then they let you down. But when they were the underdog in 2017, and they were, even though they were the number one seed, they were underdogs and seemingly the entire way through and doubted. And everyone's like, you can't win without Carson Wentz, and they rally behind it. They get the job done. They end up kind of rallying as a team, like you said, like that Rocky Philly, like just that whole culture. That was their vibe. So it is a little bit weird the fact that they are now kind of the favorites. In the Super Bowl against a Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. It is a different territory, and we'll see if they can live up to it. They have against the Giants and the Niners, but it's a different task in the AFC, and they know they'll need to be ready for it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
if I could just jump in here quick before we move on to another topic. The other thing with Hurts that I just think so many people, and this is a credit to him with how quickly he's matured as a player, like he is still only 24. Like if you look at this is his second full season playing quarterback in the NFL. Like this, I personally believe I've just seen enough with like guys like Josh Allen and Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes and these special passers that we're viewing in this generation that guys don't like hit their plateau until like the fourth or fifth year they're in the league. Like I would make an argument that even though the Bills didn't have a great season this year, this was Josh Allen's fifth or sixth season. Like he still improved this year. I thought this was the best season of his career. And the same could be said for Joe Burrow. And you could say, sure, that's all based on environment and the strength of the teams they have around them. But I do think there is a real case to be made that next year Jalen Hurts gets even better as a passer. And because we see from guys, especially running quarterbacks, like you even look at Michael Vick's career arc. Like Michael Vick in his late career became an excellent passer because he just couldn't use his legs the way he used to anymore. Like guys like Lamar Jackson, another good example. People forget like Lamar Jackson gets a bad rap this year because he had absolutely no help around him in Baltimore. He had the worst receiving and offensive line talent in the league for a star quarterback, in my opinion. But his arm was absolutely incredible this year. You think to like the week 12 game he plays against the Bears where he completes like a 65-yard air pass to whoever he's got left standing on the roster at that point. Like, I would argue if you look at September when he had all his weapons, this was the best passing season of Lamar Jackson's career, period. Like these guys that are runners first and make their names with their legs, they do improve as passers as they go along because they learn, yeah, I'm not as durable anymore. I can't just be Superman all the time. I have to improve my game. And they do get better, and you can your arm lasts a lot longer than your legs do, and it's clear he has the arm talent. So I just think the ceiling is so much higher than some people think it is for Jalen Hurts. Like I do believe he has like a Burrow, an Allen, a Mahomes type ceiling. Like that is the type of player we're talking about here. And I feel like sometimes it's like, no, he's a tier below that. No, like he can get to that level. Like we can talk about him in 2 to 3 years if he's still playing this way, if his legs are still an option as one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen play the game. Like I just believe that.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts is one of my favorite players in the NFL. I think like studying him is one of just like one of many reasons I love the game of football. I think you scout and you watch players and you hope of them being able to kind of develop into something that they are. And for Jalen Hurts, after the Eagles took him in the second round, a flawed quarterback prospect, no doubt. Like you watch what he did in school and his freshman year at Alabama. He was a runner first. This guy could not throw the ball. Nick Saban did not have confidence in Jalen Jalen Hurts to throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field. And that's really not much of an exaggeration. Like, this guy was a liability as a passer. And what you saw is development. You saw him every single year continue to take strides up, and it lines up right in line with what we see in his leadership and his character, that, you know, Jalen Hurts is not going to let some challenge, including getting benched at halftime of a national championship game, you know, being forced into a backup role the following season where he's able to be just worked in as a wide receiver or a gadget player before he's called upon in an SEC title game to come in and save the day for Alabama against Georgia in what was a crazy game. His senior year, he transfers to Oklahoma. He gets the coaching from Lincoln Riley. He's developing into a deep downfield passer. He's able to throw passes to guys like CeeDee Lamb and Marquise Brown. Like, he was able to benefit and develop. And then you saw him jump into the NFL. And, you know, his rookie year, he's sitting behind Carson Wentz, only plays in 4 games. You know, didn't really see too much of him before he was able to kind of take over that starting role. And yeah, there were still ups and downs as a passer for him. He had a game, I remember, against the New York Giants in 2021 where, you know, he had a couple of terrible interceptions. He had one right before halftime where he threw it right to a Giants defender. And, you know, everybody that evaluates Jalen Hurts for, you know, his straight up film, his ability, you're like, maybe he is limited as a passer. Maybe that's just what he is. Maybe that's why he was a 2nd round pick. Maybe that's why people that critique Jalen Hurts coming out of college and early on in his NFL career, you know, didn't see it out of him. But, you know, this year, being able to just have everything right around him, you know, there was not going to be any excuses. Hurts had to, you know, have a season like this to live up to those people that, you know, said he couldn't be a starting NFL quarterback. And he answered pretty much all of those questions this year. He really did. He stepped up, both running and passing the ball, and you know, had some just incredible throws this season to AJ Brown deep downfield, and he missed a few of those in the playoffs still. So yeah, I guess that is still, I guess, fully to be determined if he can make them in the Super Bowl. But you know, I think there's a lot to like with Hurts, and that's really just kind of been the theme in his development, not even just in the NFL, but going back to his 4 years in college. Is just every single season he continues to take steps up that people that doubt him and don't think he can be this pocket passer or make throws deep downfield, he's answered those questions, and, you know, he just continues to make, you know, progress, and seems like his mindset and mentality towards his approach is a big reason for that.